Praise the Most High Yah. This is Brother Lyles coming at you again. I know it's been a minute since I've done a video. Um, just been doing other things that dealt with ministry that is a little bit more personal. You know, the time is gonna come when you know these videos will be taken down. We're gonna have to go back to doing the face-to-face kind of ministry that is what is going to really be needed in the times that we're in today, when there's going to be great movements of people from to and fro. There's the staticness that is out there amongst our people is going to be disrupted, just as it was during the time before they left out for the Exodus. We know that what happened is the people had to leave Egypt and go back to Goshen while all the plagues was going on. So all the stuff that they had been doing for the Egyptians, like building the treasure cities, tending their flocks and stuff like that, they weren't doing that anymore, because as Yah brought the plagues on to the people, he let them know that Goshen was going to be the place where they would be safe, where he would put a difference between them and the Egyptians. And it's funny, the Egyptians felt that anyone that was a keeper of livestock were unclean. That's why they gave the Hebrews Goshen in the first place. But because the Egyptians were devil worshippers, were worshippers of all these different kinds of gods, Elohim, and in Yah's eyes, they were unclean, and that's why you see a lot of the plagues that he brought upon them were unclean things: the lice, the flies, the frogs, the bloody water, the filthy water. Yeah, uh, and I just think about this which is going on with us right now with this pandemic, as they state, that is going forth throughout the land. You know that now when me and my wife was in the Pentecostal Church of God in Christ, they used to always read this scripture I'm getting ready to read. But now I believe it's the time. Actually, I can't just say that this was only it's only can be used now, because I think back when the AIDS virus really hit hard, uh, Yah was really starting to show forth to a lot of people that talked about walking in the spirit and the things that they were doing. He was back then bringing up opportunities for all those that were proclaiming greatly certain things out of the scriptures. He was giving them an opportunity to do these things. So the book of Mark, the um, 16th chapter and verse uh, 17 said, "And these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name shall they cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents. And if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover." So it was like, I remember when the AIDS the AIDS epidemic first came out, and yeah, you had a lot of people were saying now is the time for those that are Pentecostal believers to put this. Well, not the only time, of course, but I'm saying at that time in in the late 70s, early 80s. They said now is the time for them to come forth with uh, to prove to us that the Bible is real and that what they're preaching is real. So now it's time for them to go into those rooms with people that got full blown AIDS and lay hands on them and pray for them and all these other kinds of things and watch them recover. And for the most part, that didn't happen. If anything, the Nation of Islam, which had studied, about natural remedies and studied some of the things dealing with the AIDS virus, how it came about, actually were able to bring better healing to some people in our black community than the Pentecostal church, than the church period. Not saying that there wasn't people in the church that went to visit people that had AIDS and all that, but for the most part, um, it wasn't something that people even talk about. And you got to realize that back at the time, when I was uh, me and my wife were new believers in the church, right? That's when the AIDS epidemic was really getting full blown, not only in America but throughout the world. If you're talking about a pandemic, um, that definitely was one. Not that it was um, something like this coronavirus in the sense of people spreading it, but it was something that was caused by intentional interaction between dealing with the sexual component, dealing with the drug component that spread it. And you see, with this coronavirus, they're saying that you can get it from unintentional contact, meaning somebody lay their hands on something to lead the virus and all this other kind of stuff. But with the AIDS, it was intentional. But even with that, a lot of people were fearful of the AIDS virus, like they are with this coronavirus. A lot of people felt that if you was within so many feet of a person that had AIDS, you was gonna catch it, or if they coughed on you, you could catch it. Now, I'm not an epidemiologist or anything like that, and I would never tell anybody, hey, you got to prove your faith. You got to go and do this. You only do stuff if Yah tells you. But I do remember it was a church that me and my wife was going to in upstate New York when I was stationed up there, and uh, this is one of the few things that the pastor of the church that I went to did that I thought was really noteworthy, and it was really uh, really to me show um, faith in that it was a lady and her husband that were going there, and it was a black couple, and from outwardly didn't look like nothing was wrong. They had children. The lady wasn't uh, shriveled up like a skeleton or anything like that. She looked quite healthy, at least to me. But I remember in one service, um, we had him. He came out. The pastor came out and he said, in the spirit of what's that word I want to say? Uh, when you reveal stuff to people. Well, anyway, in that spirit, he basically was like, I gotta let y'all know that Sister So and So has let me know, and has also stated to me that you need to let her know. I mean that she wants to let me told me to let you know that she has HIV, which is not AIDS, but it was supposed to be the virus. And the AIDS is supposed to come later on after the HIV has broken your immune system down Then I guess the AIDS is once all these different simple viruses can come in and kill you. But that he said she was stating, I want everybody to know that I don't want them to find out by accident and think I was hiding from them. And so he let her get up and talk, and she said, I am on medication. I don't think she told us how she got it. She said, I think she was like, that's not important, but I just wanted y'all to know that because, not that y'all would ever know, but I want y'all to know, and if y'all my family. And, after she said that, people came and hugged her and everything, and, you know, things went on, as long as we was there in the serve that going to that church, but no one treated her in that church differently or anything. People did kind of have questions about did her husband have it, and I guess it might have came that they even though they cohabitated that he must use some form of protection or whatever. So I don't know. I don't think he was a believer anyway, but he was starting to come. And I remember, we would pray for her, read it. And she was, she was faithful when she could come. Sometimes she would get sick, of course, because of the medication. The medication, especially the first AIDS medication that came out, made people very sick. And there's a reason why I'm telling you all this, and it has something to do with the coronavirus. But let's go back. Okay, so again, she was coming, and as long as we was there, I seen her, of course, once we left the church because of all the crazy stuff that was going on. I don't know what happened to her. I do think they said she started getting sicker and sicker. And as we know now from past history, a lot of the people that the sickness that was brought on by the HIV was not the HIV itself. It was the medication. It was so strong. This antiviral, antibacterial kinds of medications they were doing was just breaking people's systems down. It's sort of like what happens with, I guess, the chemo, when it comes with leukemia and cancer and all these other kind of stuff, where they give us a inordinate amount of chemo than other people and end up breaking our immune system down so much that it allows common pneumonias and colds and stuff to come in and kill you. And they say, oh yeah, we kill the leukemia, the cancer, but we kill the immune system. Because of but that's another story. But the reason I'm stating this is because so supposedly this strand of the coronavirus, which some believe was created in a lab, which I do believe so, says that maybe when they made this form of corona, that they might have put in some of the things from the HIV, married some of the stuff that goes along with the HIV disease to it, and so that some of the patients that are being treated, they said they were being treated with some of the same kind of medications that the people that was treated for HIV were treated for, which in a lot of cases they died. Now this is the thing that and I don't have the documentation to prove it, but we do know that Magic Johnson had HIV. We know he was the poster guy for it, back in the 90s and all the time, the rest of his time in the NBA. Now, the word on the street was is that he might have started with the regular doctor's treatment of the antiviral drugs that they had back then, but that he didn't stick with those. That he actually went to the Nation of Islam secretly, and that they had some doctors within there that got him on a healthy diet and got him on certain kinds of herbal treatments and stuff that he could, basically, you know, uh, afford or whatever, and got him on such a good diet that's why not only did he live, but he lived a healthy life. He didn't lose no weight, or in fact, he looked like he gained weight or whatever, but that if that's the case, and Magic Johnson knows that some of the same issues dealing with the HIV, which HIV actually changed the way black society, not only black society, but all across this world, how people, it changed the way some people live. Now we know that supposedly they say, oh, because of the medications and everything that we got out there now, which now are a little bit more affordable or whatever, then it's not imposing as much upon mankind supposedly as it did, because they have quote unquote eliminated. But we know that the mode of which how it was spread is still not being stopped, meaning the sexual, you know, uh, se- ungodly sexual activity, and also the drug use, that has not stopped. But now, if you do get the HIV virus, you can take the medication and be able to, I guess, to continue to a certain extent the ungodly behavior that you're doing, and still be able to, you know, live a life or whatever, which gets us back to the coronavirus, in which they are saying that they're looking at some combinations of these same kind of drugs. In fact, the woman lady that led the task force to create a quote unquote cure or whatever for HIV, whatever, and it's the one that's leading. They said the task force will come up with a medication and a vaccine for this coronavirus, which they're saying is going to change the way people live. So this is kind of like we're going through the same thing we did with AIDS, where again, these people are going to be the saviors. They, apparently they're gonna, one day come out with something that is gonna take this away. When, in all honesty, um, you look at with the HIV/AIDS thing, how they did it, where at first if they knew that you had the virus, that they said there's no way that they could tell unless you got tested, and then testing became a big thing because it became a stigma, where people was like, I want to get tested for this thing, and people think I got the disease, and it's a disease tied to a behavior that is not godly. So some people went untested or whatever, and some people intentionally went out and spread it. And whether uh, or not you believe that it was created in a lab or whatever, it brought up kind of ethical and spiritual um, dilemmas for a lot of people. And now here we are with the corona thing again, where some people that's stating that they don't believe it's real. Some people believing that it is real. um I'll say this. um you know, one way that it is definitely spread is through uncleanness, with you not washing your hands. Also, certain kinds of foods that people eat that could have it, because it's jumped the animal human line. So it's to me just like with the AIDS. It was certain things that if you didn't engage in these things, you can kind of almost corner yourself off unless somebody had it and they didn't tell you they had it. That's a different story. But I think with the corona, it could be the same thing. Um, and the thing about the corona, I don't know the long term effects that they say. Um, uh, if you get it, it's not necessarily a death sentence like with some people with AIDS back with HIV back at that time when they, you know, when they were treating you with these um, antiviral drugs, which in a lot of ways was killing people and those that didn't know about a healthy lifestyle. But we look at the same thing with this corona, that if people get a better balanced diet than what they have, they build up their immune system, stop the smoking and drinking and all this other kind of stuff, and exercise, keep themselves clean, wash their hands or whatever, that there is a great possibility that you can go throughout your normal life and you'll never be affected, or rather, you never will be affected by the coronavirus, depending on which one, because it is a common virus. The COVID-19, like I stated to you, I believe is one that was engineered. But again, you got to do what you think the Most High Yah is stating to you. You have to do for your own health. I can only tell you, what how I see this with the um, comparison to what we went through with the AIDS uh, epidemic or pandemic back then, and definitely the continent of Africa. It went through because of the spread of the HIV virus, because of the rapes, and also because of the doctors, and other medical personnel going over to Africa and injecting people with vaccines that they thought were vaccines, but actually was HIV. And also, uh, they said people's lack of getting the medication to treat it, which I mean, in some cases it might have been worse. Who knows? Um, I'll say this again: you got to build your immune system up. We definitely need to change our diets here in America. Um, we gotta, we as people, book, we gotta look at Yah's dietary laws, and we also gotta look at what he said about cleanliness, about putting your hands under running water, things like that. When you're around dead animals, dead carcasses, dead people, how he said you would wash and be unclean until the morning. All these, kinds of things kept down, disease and stuff in the nations, unless in Yah sent a pestilence, and then that you could tell the pestilence between what Yah sent and what might have been started with uh, them being around people that had it, and the priest coming in and treating them. Yeah, we just gotta be very prayerful in this time that we're living in. Um, you can see that we are in the times that trouble all men's souls, and we gotta be prepared to give them an answer for the hope that lieth within us. So I hope that you are blessed with this broadcast. Be blessed.